Hey, Nicci B here. I hope the sound quality is good enough. Um, Under the circumstances, there's a bit of a breeze blowing, but I'm on the beach. Couldn't miss this beautiful day with the sun shining after the little chilly spell we just had. But really, I here I am sitting on the beach, enjoying the waves, the fresh air, the saltiness, the warmth of the sun on my skin. And as I'm sitting here, I'm watching a woman who, A, is wearing shoes, so there's no grounding going on between the automatic magnetic uh, construct that you are and the earth. So, Bob for that. Two, three-quarters of her body is covered. Yes, it's chilly. So the only things that are exposed are from just above her elbows to her hands. So the issue with that is that she's barely exposing herself to absorbing any of the useful UV rays that will up her natural vitamin D levels. In fact, that's a big mistake a lot of people make, and they use sunblock as well. So you're actually preventing your body from converting vitamin D. It's always best to go in the sun earlier in the day when the sun is less harsh, and also the day is a little fresher then. The third thing that I have an issue with is that she's wearing a mask. We're on the freaking beach. Like, there's about 200 meters between every person. And so here's what I'm battling with to understand. She, I did the first talk I did on the Compass to Wellness was on breathing. And the very first thing I mentioned was the need for oxygen. It's necessary for biological living. It's necessary for enzymatic processing. Almost no biological process that goes on can occur without the fusion of oxygen and to the molecule. That triggers a whole process that is how we live. The downside of that process, so yes, it creates life, but the downside is that it creates free radicals, and it's an oxidization process. So what that means is, like metal rusts in salt water, so too does your body kind of, for lack of a better terminology or analogy, your body will rust away because of the need for oxygen to live on this planet. We also we know too much oxygen will kill you. So I'm not understanding how we are not getting that by not breathing in oxygen, you are not fighting for your own freaking survival. And you're actually helping your body fight invaders. So how are you strengthening your immune system and your body by wearing a mask? And so here's the argument I hear back. Yes, Nicci B, but what about me taking something home to my others? Well, same applies. If everyone is breathing freaking oxygen and we're letting bugs die naturally, UV light is a natural sanitation process. UV light kills. It's used in hospitals. Think about autoclaves. Think about in beauticians, you get a hot towel cabbie. That's UV light to kill bugs, to sterilize things. So now we don't go in sunlight because we are worried about getting burnt, but yet we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage from optimizing our immune system. Get it right. Choose your time of day. Protect yourself in the right way. How much time you spend. It's about quality and quantity. Sorry, I'm feeling very passionate and a bit triggered because this morning I was chatting to a friend who's I can tell from their signs and symptoms that they are suffering from adrenal fatigue. They've been working very hard. We've had coronavirus times. We've had very stressful times for families, businesses, homes, relationships, economics, all sorts. And my friend said to me this friend is a healthy person. They know how to live a healthy lifestyle, and they generally do. They eat well, they exercise as and when. However, they said, what triggered me was they said to me, I think I need to go and see a doctor to tell me what's wrong. I'm like, what the even? Come on. You're going to go to a doctor and pay, I don't know, 500-600 rand for them to tell you what you already know, which is that you're tired and you really need to take some time out. And then over and above that, you're going to probably get they're not going to tell you about nutrition. Doctors aren't trained to tell you how to eat to support yourself better. That they do on their own incentive and initiative. And generally only functional doctors have actually bothered to do enough further studies in nutrition to know the value of that being one of the cornerstones to wellness and health. And then they're probably going to give you a prescription because you probably are not sleeping well. Well, duh, because you're so stressed, your system is spewing out huge amounts of cortisol and adrenaline. And until you learn to master stress through the huge, many various techniques, well, of course, you're going to need, they're going to give you some symptomatic pacifiers. So generally people are given antidepressants, awesome. So you'll feel better, but you'll feel completely dead, and who knows how long you'll be on them for, because I know people who've been on them for 15 years. Then together with that, they'll give you anti-anxieties. Well, why are you anxious? Again, you have so many stimulating hormones revving around. You're going to feel super wired. That anxiety is a physiological response. It feels like having a heart attack, like you can't breathe. That's because your brain is now so tired. You've stored all these, your liver is overloaded, so it can't process all these hormones because we load all kinds of other toxins on top of that, and your body's got to decide, or your liver's got to prioritize what's most toxic. So if you are stressed and you're drinking alcohol, then chances are that your body's dealing with those alcohol metabolites first, and your stress hormones are just being deposited in fat cells to protect you from the inflammatory damage that is the overall effect of being in a constant fight or flight state, which is what we call stress. And yes, it's in low doses. We think we're all coping just fine, but the problem is the accumulated. It's always about the accumulated effects of any actions we take or inactions. So your sleep patterns are affected, your sex drive is affected, you're probably struggling with weight, your immune system is affected, you're probably constantly getting sniffles and all sorts of inflammatory conditions. So I don't understand why you're going to a doctor and taking this long, expensive route. Oh, sorry. And then some of you are going to say, oh, but I'm on medical aid. Well, very awesome for you, because you think you're saving money by going to the doctor and spending medical aid. However, what's actually going on is that you are paying 1,000 rand, let's say, on average per person. So you are spending, let's say you're a family of 4,000 rand minimum to cover your medical aid. That's every month. And now you're still going to go and spend extra over and above that? What the even? You know what you can be doing with 1,000 rand a month to put towards proactively taking care of your health? And here's the thing that I'm going to tell you, Nicci B Wellness, about all the free things that you can be doing to promote health and wellness, well before we even address adding in supplementation and other support systems that you actually have to pay for. I don't understand why everyone buys into things that cost them money. Why? Okay, this brings me around to the topic of currency. So everyone is so focused on money. Oh, I can't afford you. It costs, I don't have money. Things cost, and I'm paying for this and I'm paying for that. Okay, whoa, even. You know what the true currency in life is? Is energy, is your energy. How are you spending your energy in any space-time continuum? That is the first currency. You have to expend energy and then time before any monetary or tangible value flows back to you, or that we now attach this high price tag on. It kind of also triggering me on the fact of false icons. I'm very irritated by the fact that people place so much value on false icons of our religious leaders and doctors and politicians and economists and journalists and all sorts, who we rely on to tell us the truth of things. But yet lawyers, accountants, it all got hella complicated and it all cost a hell of a lot. Can we please just bring it down back to basics and really simplify things? Because I'm not understanding how we've got mobile phones, microwave ovens, all these super duper conveniences. We can take away just about anything these days, but we have less time. Go figure, people. What? It's not. I find the way people live their lives illogical. Like, I have so many questions, and my attack is not on the human beings, because in the same way that I have the truest intent and I do what I do because I'm passionate and I'm loving about people, and I want them to experience the best life and have energy and vitality in the same way I experience life. In fact, that's one of the triggers, in that I'm too much for people. Oh, you're too loud, you're too energetic. Well, you're too depressed and you have too little energy. Where's the discord? What's the problem with having energy in this life and being able to live a beautiful life that is stimulating and invigorating and uplifting? What do you want to do walking around miserable all the time? I can't even. No thanks. I'm going to keep my rose tinted spectacles on, because it's all, I don't know, your reels are all just seem to me like illusions to not face truths about ourselves, about our world, about where we're at, and how actually we're responsible for so much that's going wrong out there because we can't own ourselves. We hand away our power to these false icons. We hand away our power. We allow them to make decisions, tell us what's wrong with us. Instead of you, who knows better yourself than you? You're the one who lives in your skin, in your body, in your head. They're your thoughts, but yet you allow the external influences, television, propaganda, to indoctrinate you, to tell you what to be fearful of, how to be fearful of it, and how to buy into systems that require you to return time and time again, when really they should be stepping stones to you being your ideal self. I'm not understanding how people keep buying into things that cost so much time, energy, effort, money, when actually it's really quite simple. And you know what? Again, I know I'm triggering, but you'll find it surprising when you work with me that I'm actually able to adjust myself to where you're at, in that I've had a very experiential life. I've traveled. I've, like most of you, experienced the traumas. In fact, that's so. Here's a little real truth. We have lifestyle gurus out there all patching and helping us fix our woes, giving us awesome tools and resources. I'm going to tell you what the core issue here is of everybody's conditioning, really simply, so that you understand where you can start focusing. Most people have been abandoned and or rejected at some point in their life, and generally the stuff happens well early in our childhood. Silly things like we lost our mother in the supermarket. That will feel like an abandonment to a little 5-year-old kid, and we then base our conditioning for the rest of our lives on those two core traumas. Mentally, we adopt ideas and conditionings, and those filter through to our bodies. So then perhaps we spend our whole lives being overweight. Because why? We don't have enough self-respect and self-love, because at some point we felt abandoned and rejected. You know what? Get over it already. That's very low functioning living. Rise above. You're an adult, and that's partly what's going on now. Chiron is with us into December. It's a planet. It's the planet of the wounded healer. Yes, the stars are blah blah, and what does astrology have to do with life? Again, I don't understand how as a planet we get that we are influenced by the cosmos, asteroids passing by, the moon, the sun, space dust, etc., etc., but yet you deny that you are a living being that is also a nature, like the rest of the nature on this planet, but yet you are above that. You're so godly, but yet you are not allowed to be a god. I'm really struggling. I'm sorry, people, but I'm going off on a tangent because this is exactly what Chiron is about. Chiron is the wounded healer, and in retrograde, it means that memories are triggered, karmic issues, things from our childhoods. So all those traumas, which again essentially boil down to abandonment and rejection, and you need to learn in your grown-ass adult state that you are able to go and tell your child being that was abandoned and rejected that you accept that you as a grown-ass being are perfect, whole and complete for having had that and subsequent experiences. So now we're adults. Grow up, own it, become your own master. Stop handing your power away to external sources. Only you can fix you. And it takes an adjustment here first and a commitment to you because you're fucking worth it. I'm so done with this apathetic behavior and then wanting to see drastic results. You know what? Yes, you can go to your doctor, and yes, you can continue to receive your religious instruction. All these things are good for you, but there are huge gaps, and I'm not understanding why you won't buy into nature, into a 360 holistic approach. You know, yeah, it's crazy, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but Nicci B has kept quiet for a long time, and I've tried to fit in, and I've tried to follow your rules, and I've tried to play your game, and I don't see how you're winning. Whereas I'm following my rules and doing it my way, again, from skills, experience, study, knowledge, you know. But yet, and I'm walking my talk and talking my walk, but I don't know, you find it triggering. Come on, even. I'm not the one cutting you open. I'm not the one getting you to buy into monthly repeat prescriptions. I'm not in fact, yes, you know what, this is why it's hard to deal with me and work with me, when, like, or the idea of working with me, the concept is because I'm going to put your truths in front of your face and make you own your shit and get you to take responsibility for your shit. And that's why I didn't stay in Western medicine. I left nursing feeling like people weren't cared for. It was just a series of running, doing series of procedures, taking temperatures, blood pressures, wound care, you know, yes, those are caring acts, but the actual human heart care, when you are a nurse, after a while your environment does make you become just a functioning robot, and you do forget after the 100th injection or the 100th knotting that stitch or cutting shrapnel out someone's thing, or being in theatre and having stab wounds to the neck or gut stitched up and worms are crawling out. Look, people, I've been there, I've seen it, I've experienced it. I don't understand where your lack of buying comes in, and I'm going to own that I've got my own shit going on, which is on an energetic level, creates resistance, but I'm going to own that. And here's what I need to own. I need to own that I'm different and challenging, and that I antagonize people, and that my techniques and methods are not conventional, because there is so much of that and you all do it, and I'm not seeing how it's working for you. So please, I would like to invite you to open your heart to yourself and to others, and open your mind to some new ideas. This is the way forward. The old ways have died. We have to change, and this is part of the change. Nature is asking us to please respect her, use her with a consciousness. You know, pharma drugs, so for example, aspirin, salicylic acid, comes from the willow bark tree. I'm not understanding why you can't use a plant extract tincture to deal with your aspirin, same aspirin-like reasons. I'm not understanding why you can't use olive leaf and propolis and echinacea and pelargonium and jasmine and camellias, and I could go on for days about botany, and then there's ethnobotany. There's so much out there that you could use, but yet you've become dependent on a system that you rely on to tell you A, what's wrong with you, B, how to treat it, when really what you should be doing is you are the researcher and the investigator to your own health issues, and you collect the information and you ask as many people as possible across different professions. And yes, you use medicine because it's discovered very good testing techniques. It's got very good diagnostic techniques. It can tell you what's going on in your blood. It can tell you look through the skin, tell you what's going on in the bones, the organs. So use it to get that information. But also remember that the people who are doing the reports have human eyes, and they are seeing from their human limitedness. So yes, they miss things, and so too with the same disregard that medicine has put a bad light on aromatherapies and the values of massages and more natural homeopathy, herbalism, iridology, did I say reflexology, acupuncture, acupressure. Look, these are a lot of in the Western world. We've been denied the knowledge of a lot of Eastern medicines, and I'm talking about traditional Chinese medicine. I'm talking about Ayurvedic medicine. And if you're still listening, I really appreciate your hanging in there with my tyrant. But I'm really hoping that you are getting some takeaways. I find that we've made things very complicated, and we treat very simple imbalances in very complicated ways. We allow medicine to slash and burn, when really there are a lot of preventative ways of dealing with health. And I find these days people are very reactive rather than proactive. And perhaps it's time to change. It's very costly to not be proactive. Being sick costs you time, costs you money, it costs you energy, it costs you joy of life, it costs you relationships, and ultimately at the end of the day, all those that treasure chest that you're chasing, you don't get to actually enjoy it. Once you've got your crowns and I don't know, whatever you value in life, you don't even have the energy to get up and go out dancing proudly with your crown like a queen. No, you're too tired. You just want to stay at home in your pajamas and your fluffy slippers. That's no way to live. So it's about questioning how you expend your energy in and what time you're going to use towards putting into a positive feedback system. And really what I like to encourage is that an accumulation, the compound effect of many parts is where the benefit lies. So it's really the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. And I am really starting to put myself out there a lot with my controversial ideas. However, they have come from 25 plus some years of being in this health and wellness industry in different games. I've from hospitals as a nurse, to being a living care worker in the UK, to managing health stores, to working for myself and across different platforms, from very biological, medical based things to very energy and esoteric like things. I just feel like, why limit yourself when there are so many tools? And I'd really like to try and help you work through. So there's this lovely saying about, when you go out there, you must dazzle them with your brilliance or baffle them with your bullshit. So here's the thing: I'm going to dazzle you with my brilliance, and so that you can see how you're being baffled by the bullshit. And I really do this with love and light. And I'm reminded that currently, especially with these Chiron-like issues and challenges we're experiencing or being exposed to, we feel very vulnerable. We're feeling the need to defend. and we are feeling triggered. It's I'm just another one of you. I just, because of what I do, I'm able to see the macro picture, which is one of the blessings, and I'm really grateful to be able to manage life, having all those tools to keep making sense of life for me in a world that just doesn't seem to care, or has lost its heart. And I think really that's really what the Christ consciousness is the Jesus light was about: forgiveness and acceptance, and living from the heart. And I currently see a picture, a very classic Catholic imagery of the Mother Mary with that pink heart that has the radiating light, and then that halo of glowing light around her head. So yeah, I think I've gone on long enough for today, but I really just wanted to take a moment to just be personal and again, I guess, contradictory and rebellious. And I hope that I have not triggered too many, because I really don't have the time and energy to deal with any negativity. I really want us to go forth and be loving and caring for each other, and really try and make a difference. And I'd like us to really save this planet, because look around, beyond this little planet, we are the only that we know of green, viable. We know how to use the oxygen levels are such that we can actually survive. So rule number one: use it. Breathe, people, breathe. Anyway, that woman walked past again, so I think it's time for me to shut down. Thank you for listening for my very long tirade, and I'm bringing you a wellness talk this week via Zoom on mycology or mycotherapy, and really that's the use of mushrooms, fungi as a food and medicine. And you'll be surprised at what else they are doing these days with myceliums and such likes. So please join in. I think it's going to be interesting, and there's been requests for it, so that's why I'm doing it. So I look forward to your participation. Hello, little butterfly. Thank you. Goodbye.